All right, it is Saturday, so traditional finance is closed, and because of a lot of the price action right now is based off of economic data, we really want to see how those markets react opening on Monday, and that will kind of decide Bitcoin's fate going forward. But certainly today we are at a very nice supportive level on the charts for Bitcoin specifically, and I do think it is not the time to panic. If anything, if you are very bullish in the markets, this could be a potential buying opportunity, although I will say there is always that chance this is a failed cycle, and there is a chance we could break down sooner rather than later. But of course, my base case, if you've been watching this channel, is one more upthrust after distribution. I believe this entire range has been distribution for Bitcoin, not accumulation, not Wyckoff accumulation like people are saying. I think it's Wyckoff distribution, which if it is to play out like a schematic number 2 of Wyckoff, if you go ahead and look up that schematic, you will see what we see is an upthrust after distribution, getting us a break into all-time highs, sweeping that topside liquidity, taking out those shorts before the final top does in fact come in. You find this is where there's max euphoria in the markets. We should see meme coins going crazy. Everyone's going to be calling for $100,000 plus, $500,000 Bitcoin. They're going to be saying the bull is just now starting because we're getting Fed rate cuts. And this is where the top actually does in fact come in. And then I think we will swing fail these highs and go into the bear market at that point. But I gotta say, with this sentiment that we're seeing in the market right now, extreme fear, by the way, and with that fear coming in at big support, this CME gap and golden pocket, as well as it is value area low. I just pulled this fixed range earlier. If you pull a fixed range volume profile from this previous low to where we are in price action, you can see this value area low comes in right at where price is. We're pixel touching that at the moment, so that's really good to see. We also swept more liquidity. If we zoom in here to the hourly time frame now, you will see this liquidity right back here where the vectors kind of started on the uptrend. You could mark this out on the chart as somewhere where a lot of stops would have been placed, and you can see we did grab that very nicely, having some nice bullish candles after this. But I will say, even though I do believe there's a good chance this is the low, it is the weekend, so this CME gap is not technically valid right now. We can't fill a CME gap on the weekends, but what would be real interesting, because CME closed all the way back up here at around 62,500, there is the chance that this actually never gets filled and Bitcoin could open back up here where CME closed on Friday. That would be something that is definitely possible if we went ahead and, within today and tomorrow's ran up here on Bitcoin back within the range. We could go ahead and open up here and CME could pretend like this never happened, but certainly that would be kind of a weird scenario, pretty speculative to think that's going to happen. So don't be surprised if going into Monday, CME does come down here and fill the gap to catch up to where Bitcoin's at, and that would indicate maybe you don't want to be taking longs right now. So there's certainly kind of two ideas that could be playing out here on the market. Bitcoin could front run CME, get back up within the range, and it could pretend like this drop never happened, depending on what traditional finance does. That could be in play. Or we could see something like a retrace maybe this weekend, and then we come down here with CME to finish off this level later on, and that's where your actual bottom does come in. So we'll see how that does actually play out. There's obviously more scenarios too. You can't really predict what's going to happen on the charts. It's all just probabilities and levels, and the levels say that we're at support, right? So no need to really panic sell right now, in my opinion. I think this golden pocket is going to hold for at least a minimum of a retrace. But if you are super bearish and you think that we're not going to have this upthrust after distribution, you could be correct, right? Wyckoff schematic number 1 says that this is our buying climax and we don't have that secondary euphoric stage, and it is just continual lower highs. Maybe we just have a retrace back up and then enter the bear market, but I would expect at least a retrace back up. Lots of shorts opening into support right now, so definitely expect, potentially a squeeze up to this sweep level we talked about in yesterday's video that comes in right above where that FOMC meeting was. So testing this value area high, filling these imbalances could be the play as well. That's kind of the worst case scenario in my opinion right now if you are super bearish in the markets. But so far so good. We are still holding what we need to on Bitcoin. And with this higher low on Bitcoin, we are seeing a divergence that is pretty key and does seem to play out a lot of the times that could signal a macro bottom for that potential rally up into all-time highs. And what is that? Well, that's going to be a CVD hidden bullish divergence. This is when you have CVD making lower lows. That's the cumulative volume delta, meaning that more shorts are being opened right now in the market than there were back at these lows. And even with more shorts being opened right now, price is not making a lower low, it's making a higher low, showing absorption of those short positions and a likely potential that you do have a squeeze here on price. Does it mean that the low has to be in right now? No, price could come down a little bit lower. The CVD could come down a little bit lower. It's not going to tell you exactly where the low is going to be on this daily time frame, but certainly we do have that CVD hidden bull div on multiple exchanges. You can see over here on Bybit as well. More shorts are open in the market right now, but the price is not lower. That's a very bullish sign to see. I have backtested that at 80% win rates throughout this range that we've had here on Bitcoin. If you want to know those exact percentages of all the divergences in crypto, plus more that I am working on, such as divergences between S&P and Bitcoin, like when the S&P makes a higher low and Bitcoin makes a lower low, is that a bullish divergence that could play out in your probabilities for trading? All of that information is in my VIP Discord, plus a lot more. So go ahead, click the link in the description down below to see if it's worth your money or not. It is only $20 a month for the first month right now using code EAGLE. That's a limited time deal, and it is specifically for leveraged traders. If you don't trade on futures and don't have interest in doing so, I don't recommend it because it's extremely risky and you can lose a lot of money. But if you are struggling with it or making some good money but you want some valuable information such as those confluence trackers, check it out down below. But enough of that. Let's go ahead and get off of Bitcoin here and talk about some other charts such as our altcoin market, because while the alts have dumped, they are still holding what they need to have that bullish structure. We have higher lows on Bitcoin and we also have higher lows here on the altcoin market, but we are getting down to critical level right now. This is a previous sweep level that we had on the charts, as well as when we pull our fibs, we're getting down a little bit lower here on the fibs through that golden pocket, but still holding on to this 7.5, which is a pretty good retracement level that is sometimes expected on bullish moves. So this isn't anything too concerning immediately. Once again, would I be panic selling right now? Absolutely not. But we do need to watch this carefully. Let's make sure we can actually clear back above the golden pocket and go up here. We need to flip this volume into support, right? Bearish scenario where Bitcoin just does this retrace, doesn't break into all-time highs, probably going to do something like that. And this is where you could get more bearish, or I guess you could say absolute worst case scenario is that we couldn't flip this into support and then we would reject. But we don't have any confirmation of that. Panic selling right now, probably not the best idea. Let's wait to see how price reacts. In my opinion, we're going to come up here and then this is going to be the big test. Can we actually get through it, flip it into support, or is this going to flip back into resistance? Only time will tell. And then lastly, to finish off on a good note here, this is something I'm seeing on the charts that I haven't seen anybody else cover that could signal that maybe the bull run is just starting. Maybe we could even go up more than an upthrust after distribution. Those six-figure targets are still not off the table, although I will say recessionary indicators do not lie. Unemployment spiked. That's why we're seeing this panic in the markets, and that data should not be ignored. There is some other data that says that Bitcoin could explode here, especially if it does act more similar to gold as a risk-off asset. Again, very speculative. I'm not betting on that, but we do see the dollar coming down today with the markets, which usually signals that money is flowing out of the dollar and going into more risk on. So that's something interesting to see. And when we saw this Friday, where was the money going? Well, it was of course going into the euro, which is indexed against the dollar, right? The DXY is not the dollar versus Bitcoin or versus the S&P. No, it's versus other currencies, the biggest one being the euro. So of course, with the dollar going down, the euro is going up. And historically, when the euro does launch up out of ranges, it does mark bottoms in our markets, such as back here, November 2022. This was at the depths of the bear market for Bitcoin and where the bull really started for at least Bitcoin. I know altcoins took some more times to really get going. But yeah, when the euro gets bullish, that is actually very bullish for markets as well. And we do see this macro consolidation range that is shaping up to be a potential breakout here. So let's see if we can have continuation on the euro. And I think a full breakout of this, clearing out of this range, would signal again, more risk on and could signal a big rally for the crypto markets in general. So this is some hopeful stuff that we are seeing on the charts, but of course it's the weekend, so these currencies as well as the stock market are closed today, so we'll have to wait for everything to open up Monday to see how the market is going to process that bad economic data that we just recently got, and wait for more data such as August 8th when we do have unemployment claims to see how that's looking. But if you do have any questions about anything I talked about or just want to join the community for this channel, link to my Discord is in the description down below. Below that is that VIP Discord that I had talked about briefly, and then below that are 3 exchanges that I really like that each offer their own unique benefits. I love BingX. They got an event going on right now for all you guys, but you might need to KYC, so if you can't access that exchange, Blowfin is amazing for leverage trading. It is my preferred exchange for doing so definitely go ahead and check out Blowfin. And then below that is another non-KYC exchange to get more spot pairs, etc. You can even do demo trading if you are new to it, and you don't need to share your ID or anything like that. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.